Hi, I'm Lauren Sloan, the initiative's producer of SeriesFest. We are here with the team from Bulge Bracket to talk about the project that you guys have just seen. We have Chris, Christine, and Jessica, all from the film. Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to just kind of dive in and talk about the genesis of this project a bit. Chris and Christine, how did you guys get to the pilot or the series? I mean, how did you start, and how did this get on the screen?
Yeah, so I guess my wife Cindy worked as an investment banker in New York at a bulge bracket bank, and yeah, and so it's really sort of inspired by her stories and her experiences, as well as some stories that I've heard from other friends who've done banking. And I think that it started 10 years ago, actually, when she was still a banker. And we shared an apartment, but I wouldn't see her because she would leave for the office before I woke up, and she'd come home at 2 or 3 a.m. after I was already asleep. And the one day of the week I saw her was Saturdays. We'd have these brunch dates together, and she'd tell me these crazy stories about things that happened at work. And I was like, there needs to be a TV show about this. Yeah. And at the time, nobody was making it, so I had to write the show that I wanted to see. And then sort of flash forward a couple of years, I wrote an early draft of the script then, but then I had kids and had a family, and so it wasn't until probably about 2017 that I had a little bit more free time in the evenings when my kids were older and already in bed. I dusted off this script and revisited it, did a bunch of revisions, and kind of started sending it around to anyone who would read it. And I guess I had known Christine for many years. We had both worked at a film festival together in San Francisco, but sort of at different times, where she started right after I left. But we had still stayed in touch, and she was one of the people that I had sent the script to. And we decided to work on it.
That's great. And when did you shoot the project?
We shot this in October of 2018.
Okay.
We shot for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. And how many episodes in all did you guys shoot?
So we shot a total of about 74 minutes of content, okay, like of screen content. And so I think that it's been cut a bunch of different ways, okay, for various places. So SeriesFest is showing 25 minutes as sort of like a half-hour pilot. Yeah. But we also have kind of a version that is like 6 13-minute episodes as kind of like a short-form series as well.
That's great. Christine, is this something that you'd worked on before? Because I mean, now I know you have the intel of your wife to kind of give you that education. Because I mean, if someone handed me a script about Wall Street and with all of the, the sheets and the like all the technical financial stuff, I wouldn't know where to start. Was that kind of something that was appealing to you, or was that kind of daunting to get into?
Likewise, I was thinking of getting like a Wall Street background for Zoom today, just like
a little Gordon Gekko back here, maybe.
Exactly.
Just
no, not necessarily Wall Street, but like Chris said, we've had both worked at a nonprofit media organization, both worked in independent film, in like episodic the format as well. And from what I gathered, this was like Chris's baby. And I think as like creators, we all know there's that one project that we've had in us for a decade or 2 decades. So once I met Chris and I read the script, and I just realized, what first of all, a great person, but also a great person to work with, an egoless person, very straightforward, very practical, very efficient. I was really honored to, be part of somebody's project that is their baby. So that's how it started, and then it blossomed from there.
That's great. And then Jessica, when did you come into play? Had you guys started putting it together, or did you come in early in the process, or when you guys were ready to go and start shooting?
You know what? I'm not sure what part in the process.
Maybe that's a question for you guys.
It was during pre-production.
Okay.
So we had already gotten sort of most of the funding together, and I was traveling down to LA a bunch to take meetings, and we were doing auditions and stuff. And so I think that we actually did an open call audition for that role of Kathy, the lead. And we saw some good actors, but nothing that was kind of quite right. And so I met up with a friend of mine who's a filmmaker, Daniel Park, and I asked him, he had read the script, and I was like, well, who would you get to play Kathy? And he threw out Jessica's name. And so I went and watched, everything I could see Jessica in. And so I saw her, I watched Soul Searching on Netflix. I went and watched Luna, which is a short film on HBO. And I was like, oh yeah, she would be great. And so we got the script in front of Jessica on a Friday. And then I think Monday, she and I spoke on the phone. And she was like, this is great. Let's do this. But Jessica, I don't know, do you want to tell more about kind of the other things that were going on for you at the time?
For me, sure. I assume, so at the time I actually was already doing a play, and I would perform 6 nights a week out in the Huntington Library Gardens, which is, from LA City, it's a good probably hour, especially during traffic time. So 6 nights a week I was doing that, and I get this script from Chris by email. And it's so timely, and I thought it was so unique and important because a woman in a male-dominated industry, in finance especially, which is something that hasn't been spoken about. And I just thought it was such an important story, and I wanted to be a part of it. But I knew I needed to be upfront with them that basically they were looking to shoot at the same time that I was still on a play 6 nights a week.
Wow.
So I wrote back to Chris and I said, hey, look, I'm very interested in this, but when are you planning to shoot it? And here's the situation. If you're willing to make it work, I'm willing to make it work. I don't mind. And I think we all decided that in the world of Kathy and in the world of the Bulge Bracket, where, like he said, his wife didn't get home until 2 or 3 in the morning and he'd be down asleep, maybe it worked out that I wasn't getting any sleep in real life either.
Oh, you're a trooper.
It was fun. It was fun.
I mean, it was not to over flatter you, I guess. But I mean, literally, as soon as that elevator opened, you saw Kathy. It was like, she is spot on, perfect for this role. You did a phenomenal job, truly, and to kind of hold your own exactly in that male-dominated world. I felt right there with you. I mean, I think you connected so well with the audience of me watching at home on my computer during
the most important audience.
Yes, the remote audience. I just congratulations, you did a phenomenal job. It was a hysterical project, but I think that you were a phenomenal character that grounded us and in this crazy world. But so now I keep thinking about your wife, Chris. Did you get some of these characters from people she works with? How did that all kind of come together?
Yeah, I'd say that there's not necessarily a one-for-one, oh, this is definitely that person, but there's sort of composites of people that she has worked with, and even some that I've worked with as well.
Yeah. So she's not Kathy per se.
I think that there is a part of her that is Kathy.
Okay.
So I think that when I showed my wife an early cut of the project, and she saw it for the first time, she teared up and she was like, I feel seen,
Wow.
And so I think that it does resonate a lot with her experience, but she's not exactly the same as Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jessica, did you guys talk a bit with Chris's wife? Did you guys kind of? Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I jumped in and I kind of asked Chris for some of his network, and he was very generous. He opened me up to his wife, to himself, to a couple friends of his who also were females in the banking industry back in the day. And I as well went on my own and reached out to a few friends just so I could get more real life stories about what was going on.
Little Wall Street crash course.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. So what's going on with the project now? So you've got all this stuff in the can. Obviously, the world's a little bit in disarray. But have you been taking it around? Gonna show at SeriesFest and see what happens? What's the plan for it?
Yeah. So I think SeriesFest has really helped to kind of elevate the project and get it sort of top of mind for a lot of people. So even when the announcement came out on IndieWire, we had some people reach out and say oh, congratulations, industry people that were like, hey, is there a screener available? And so we also similarly got into IFP's project forum last fall, and that also opened up doors for a lot of meetings and stuff. And so I think that we've had a lot of good conversations with distributors, and sort of are hopeful that we'll be able to put this out there on a platform sometime this year.
Great. And then, I mean, we can just see the evolution of Kathy as she continues, and hopefully, Jessica, you're not doing 2 jobs at the same time throughout the series. We can get a little bit of a reprieve. But this was great, guys. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you guys are part of the festival this year, and thank you for supporting us in this virtual space. And congratulations.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all in the virtual space for watching the Q&A for Bulge Bracket.